And welcome back. We're here with the Altima again. Anyone who's seen my last video inside the garage knows that this car needs a new valve cover because oil is getting into the spark plug area. And I don't think they sell the seals, the spark plug seal, tube seals separately. You have to buy the whole valve cover. So we're going to go ahead and get that changed today. Now the customer did get the part herself and just dropped it off, so she said it's here in the box. So let me go ahead and get this opened up. Okay, so it looks like we got a set of spark plugs, and let's go ahead and open up this box real fast. Okay, it's the classic box within a box. Look at that. I had no idea that the Beck and Arnley, was a OEM Nissan part. I'm actually really surprised. That's interesting, but it's nice to see we got some OEM parts here, which means everything's gonna fit nicely. So that's very nice. Let's see if I could get this out of here with one hand. Set that right there. We got a new gasket. See the part number. You know, I'm not really used to recording like this. Anyone who watches my video knows that I usually don't make videos in this type of format. And, you know, every time I see other people's videos and they're like, oh, this is kind of difficult to do because I'm only got, you know, I got one hand free. Now I see what you're talking about. This it's not as easy as it looks. Nice OEM Nissan part. Sweet. Alright, let's go ahead and get started on this bad boy. Oh, and one more thing. This is what I was talking about, that the tube seals are non-replaceable. So if these go bad, you have to replace the entire valve cover. And I think the same thing for the PCV valve. It's built into the valve cover. Here's the overflow tank that I replaced on the last video. And I don't know if you could see there, but it looks like it's holding the level pretty good. So we don't have any leaks, and so far it doesn't look like there's any signs of anything rubbing on it that's gonna cause a hole how the old one had it. So it looks pretty good. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get this zipped off here real fast. Shouldn't be tight because I had it off last time. Alright, and here's a closer look at the valve cover. So not only is oil making its way into the spark plug tubes, but you can clearly see around here there's obvious signs of oil leaking. So that's a good thing it's getting done. Oh, come on. There's always that one. Come on, there you go. You know, I had someone today message me about a job, so I quoted them $150 to do the job, and then like 3 hours later I get a reply saying I got $100 for you. So I replied, great, now you just need 50 more. And I didn't hear back from that person. You know, I don't understand people just because I'm not a shop, they feel like, you know, they could just go ahead and make up their own prices and all that kind of stuff. I was talking to my friend earlier about this, and you know, I told him, like, if you go to McDonald's and order a meal and it comes out to like $8, what are you gonna do? Show up to the window and tell them I got $6.50 for you? That's not exactly how it works. So let's just go ahead and get all these ignition coils out of here. Yeah, this is the one right here that had all the oil in it. As you can see, it's actually dripping oil right now. And I think this first one also had some oil in it. Yep, a lot of oil. It looked like somebody forgot to put the clamp back. Here it goes right here. Wasn't me, I could tell you that much. Well, so far so good. Alright, there's the one I was concerned about because it's looking really super crusty, but it came out just fine. Anyone who follows my Instagram knows that I just, well, you wouldn't know because you don't know what time this video is being posted, but just last night I finished that Chrysler 300 that I was working on the suspension, doing a ball joint and all that stuff. And okay, that one did not have to come out. Put that one back. Yeah, so I finished that one last night. I think I got out the garage like at maybe 2 a.m. I'm sure I could have put it off till this morning, but I just wasn't feeling it. I just wanted to get it done. And yep, everything seemed to go okay at first until a bolt strips and it doesn't want to come out, and then you have to pull out the grinder. So you know, a job is always fun when you got to pull out the grinder and the cutoff wheel. I feel like I need to get my magnet. Let me go get my magnet before I end up dropping a bolt and it just falls into the Bermuda Triangle somewhere. Oh, I went ahead and ordered some new tools today, so I'm pretty excited about that. You know, it's just, even if it's something small and stupid, I don't know, it just gives you the warm, fuzzy feelings inside whenever you order new tools. You know, it's like Christmas. So that's one thing, and I'm also waiting on the other half of my toolbox because I have the Milwaukee toolbox, the lower part, and I've had it like that maybe like 2 years or longer. And I recently went ahead and bought the top half of the toolbox, so now I'm gonna have the complete set, and it's right here, so you know what I'm talking about. So that's the lower half, and then I'm gonna have the piece that sits on top, which is the chest. So I'm really excited about that, about having a complete set now. The main reason why I'm getting it is because, number one, I've always wanted it, just to have a complete set. You know, who doesn't like having a complete set? But on top of that, I found myself, I'm at the point where I'm stacking tools on top of tools in this box. I don't like that, so I needed a little bit more space. Yeah, so I just went ahead and ordered it. Okay, am I missing something? Yeah, there's not much clearance there. So I don't see anything else holding on this valve cover. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to pry a little bit right here. I'm not gonna go crazy with it. And look at that. Didn't take much, so. Okay, come on. Alright, we're on to something. Come on. Let's come from this side. There we go. Nice and free. Seems like what's fighting me right now is the hose going to that PCV valve. I moved the clamp back as far as I could. I don't know if it's completely off yet. But what I'm going to do is, as I lift up here, I'm going to see if I can pry. Let's see, where's that? You know what? I'm going to go ahead and take this off and hopefully to get this harness a little bit more out of the way. See if that. Okay, but now I could see that clamp a little bit better. You know what, this tube actually just comes right around here, and it's actually this very tube right here. So instead of going through the pain of trying to separate it right here, since it's a really tight spot, I'm just gonna go ahead and separate it right here, which is really easy to get to. Alright, come on, baby. Not applying a lot of force, just very gentle. Oh yeah, it's spinning. That's a good sign. Okay, so it is free. Let's see if we go ahead and pull it back. Oh god, it's kind of tight. Some gentle prying. I don't know, this tube is pretty stiff. It's not, you know, it's not soft and malleable. Just feels really, you know how rubber gets when it gets old and through all the heat cycles and everything. It feels really like brittle. Alright, I feel like I'm onto something here. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing the hose from back here with the pliers, and I'm using this part on the intake manifold to just kind of use it as leverage. And it seems to be pulling it off. Okay, victory. Yep, that was the trick. Yeah, this thing is super brittle. You know, I wish I had a replacement one. I would just, you know, not even deal with it and just replace it, but I don't. So, yeah, let's go forward. And there we go, it's off. So, okay, so now it's time for a little bit of cleanup. Just gonna start off using a plain old razor blade here. Now this isn't any type of DIY video, you know, but in case you are watching and trying to figure out how to do this, I think it's obvious that any dirt you scrape off of here, you want to scrape away from the inside of the engine. You want to try to minimize the amount of dirt, debris, and garbage from getting inside. Okay, so I just about got it all cleaned up. It looks pretty decent. I'm just gonna go ahead and hit it with some brake parts cleaner to really get the surface nice and clean. I don't know if anyone remembers the video with the Land Rover with the big like 24-inch rims, the spinners. Yeah, that guy was something else. I'm not gonna get too much into detail, but yeah, he made me laugh because I remember those rims were so heavy that I could not even lift them up to put them back on the studs to put the wheel back on the car. You know what I mean? So I had to call him. I was like, hey, you gotta come help me put your rims back on, dude. These things are just too damn heavy. So so he came by and he's trying to help me, you know, get the wheels on. And we didn't have the vehicle jacked up very high. I mean, it was like if the wheel was on the studs, the wheel would probably be like an inch off the ground. But oh, and another thing to keep in mind is the one wheel we were trying to lift had no air in it because all of his tires had a slow leak on them. So it had been sitting without him filling it. He said it was so bad he had to fill it like every day. So anyways, the car had been sitting for so long that the tire literally had no air in it. It was completely flat. So he's trying to lift this thing up, and then he like smashes his finger on one of the studs, you know, so now he's upset. And I'm like, I'm just gonna kind of back off because, dude, it's your car, you know, you decided to put these big heavy rims on here, you know. So he's starting to get upset, he's cursing, and then he goes and he says, I don't understand why the rim is so heavy. It doesn't even have air in it. Now, it took all of the strength in my body to not laugh at this guy, but he was dead serious. So he's claiming that the air has weight. And I just could not believe it. So anyway, we get the wheel on. Ran into some other problems, so the car had to stay here overnight. And then the next morning, he shows up with his girlfriend this time. And by the time they come by, you know, I got my little air compressor out, and I'm trying to put air in the tire. So I'm filling it up, and his girlfriend is just watching me put air in the tire, and she looks baffled, okay? So I don't know what's going on with her, but I was like, whatever. So she asked her boyfriend, what's inside of the air compressor? And he was like, what do you mean? She goes, yeah, is there like oil inside of there? Is it water? And he was like, babe, it's an air compressor. She's like, okay, but what's inside of it? So, I mean, I guess they were meant for each other, you know? Two peas in a pod. I don't know. Moving on. Alright, so it looks like I got this pretty clean here. The surface looks nice. Everything's nice and dry. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of silicone right here, and the same thing right here on these two mating surfaces. And I think that's it. That's the only little bit of silicone we have to apply. Let me go ahead and do that. Yeah, I swear this is really nice. I can't even think of a time where I had to do valve cover gaskets and I was able to replace the whole valve cover. Or maybe one other time I can remember doing on Nissan Murano. But yeah, for the most part, you're not replacing the whole valve cover, you know? So it's a real treat when you get this, because the tedious part is cleaning everything up, and that just really sucks. The section where we're gonna have the silicone at would be like right here on this corner, and the same thing on this side. So that's the only place where we're going to be applying silicone, but obviously on the head, not right here. I'm just going to grab like a little bit of oil right off of the head right here. I just want to rub it on the inside of these seals, just so they don't like go on dry, and you don't want to like, you know, damage anything. So not much, just very little. Okay, that's where it's at. Make sure the gasket is still in the right place and it hasn't fallen out or moved. Everything looks okay. Oh, let's not forget about that silicone, so let's go ahead and do that first. Grab the valve cover and I'll go ahead and try to snake it in there. This sucks. This is the worst part about doing valve covers, when you got like harnesses and everything in your way. Try to fish this hose underneath the harness, come up behind it. Okay, so far so good. Gasket is still in place. Just trying to get this hose on over here. This hose really sucks. And there we go. Probably should have put some lube on that thing. Alright, so at this point I'm still fighting the valve cover a little bit. It doesn't want to completely like seat in on where it's supposed to be. Okay, so I've checked all the way around. I mean, I even went back there with a mirror and my flashlight, and the gasket is still in its correct place. It hasn't moved, but for some reason the valve cover will not like pop into place, if you know what I mean. It just like, no matter how much you push back on it, it just kind of like springs right back up again. So normally I wouldn't do this, but I'm gonna try putting the bolts in, and I'm not going to use the impact gun or anything. I'm just going to use a regular ratchet and slowly tighten it down and see how it goes. If something feels funky, I'm going to back off. I already got one here and one back here. You know what though? I'm going to go ahead and see if there are any torque specs for this. I just don't feel right, you know? I don't think I'm over tightening it, but I want to do it right. So I'm going to go look up some torque specs for this thing.
Today, we have a little video clip here of a perfect example of what the meaning
Yeah,
of
Steve
being
Robb, go check him out.
in Ontario actually means. That's Ontario, Canada, not Ontario, California. I'm going to show you this little bit of a clip, and then we're going to have a little bit of a chat.
Let's just call this for what it is.
I love watching his channel. let's have a little bit of a chat and let's have some fun. Good stuff. And we're all set. That's all of the bolts. I'm just gonna go ahead around the valve cover one time and check all of them, but I'm not gonna torture you anymore with that. You saw for yourself, I torqued them down to the correct spec. Just in case you're wondering, the max torque on this valve cover would be 82 inch-pounds. Just in case you're wondering. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go over all of them one more time. Now we could go ahead and put our fasteners back on for the wire harness. Don't worry, I'm not giving it the beans. I got on setting 1 with just low torque, and as you can see, I didn't hit it that many times with the impact gun. Let's go ahead and put this one on. Oh, this is another hose that's just like super brittle. And let's actually go ahead and put the clamp on, unlike the last person that was here. So let's go ahead and take these 4 spark plugs out of here. Before we take them out, let's see if there's any oil inside of here. There's the first one. Oh, a little bit. It's not completely filled how it was last time. Same thing here. Using this really long extension. The only reason I like this one is because it actually has like a lock right here, and it will not let go of the socket until you press the button. So that's really nice. We all know those times where the socket gets stuck on the spark plug and you got to pull this out, and you know your socket just will not come off of the spark plug. So that becomes a pain in the butt. So this is really nice. That's why I like to use this extension here. Once I break them loose, I use the long ratchet to break them loose, and then after that I just kind of switch over to a stubby. Jesus Christ, that was tight. On is low. It's a good thing we're almost done. Yeah, so apparently I really misdiagnosed how much oil was in here because there's a lot. Let's see, let me get my rag. You can see the spark plug socket is completely filled with oil. Oil is dripping off the spark plug. I'm torquing these down to 20 foot-pounds. Now we can grab our ignition coils and put them back in. Now this is probably overkill, but these get torqued down to 60 inch-pounds, which is pretty much nothing. You can barely even feel the torque wrench click. Okay, so this is pretty much my favorite segment, and it's called Will It Start Up or Blow Up? Yep, and we got quite a smoke show coming right out the tailpipe. That's the oil that worked its way into the cylinders. But it started up, it didn't blow up, so we're okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this engine cover on. I don't think there, I have to show that, but yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that out right here. I appreciate you guys watching and sticking through it. And like always, thanks for watching and consider subscribing.